Downtown, Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padres gang. Yeah, that.
And good day, everybody. Welcome on in. Just had Jim Callis on for episode 151 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show to talk about the Padres farm system, Robert House III, Gore, Abrams, or Abrams be sent to AAA. Talked about Joshua Mears as well. Is James Wood more of a DH or an outfielder? Talked about the return that the Padres got in the Victor Caratini trade as well. Talked a little bit about Ethan Salas as well with the international draft and the Padres being favored in getting him. So a lot that we talked about with Jim Callis. I hope you will go and watch or listen to that if you did not catch that live on YouTube or Twitch. But as for this video, as for this live show, it is the Padres and Reds pregame show, the Talking Friars pregame show. Ben Fadden, your host. Tonight, first pitch, 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:40 Pacific. Valley Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan. The Reds come into this matchup 2-8. Padres are 6-5. The Padres fourth place in the National League West right now after splitting their four-game set against the Braves. I also talked about the series as well on episode 150 that I went live for last night, so you can watch or listen to that as well. We got about 2.5 hours before first pitch gets underway with Sean Manaea on the mound for the Padres tonight. The Reds, last place in the NL Central, they suck. 4 games back, they're 2-8, like I mentioned. They just got swept, I think, in a 4-game set with the Dodgers. They're just trash, and they should be. You know, they traded away a lot of their key guys, Sonny Gray, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker. They're just not a great team. Amir Garrett was another guy. So they're not trying to win. And then even their owner or president, whoever the heck it was, on their home opener, one reporter asked the guy, like a message to have to their fans and why the fans should still support when they're rebuilding and not trying to win. And the guy had an arrogant comment and said, well, where else are they going to go? And it's like, come on, dude. So they're not really trying to win. And my point to this is the Padres should win this series. They should sweep this series. Look, the pitching matchups, they're facing no names. You know, Nick Lodolo, Reds fans know him. He was a first-round pick a couple years ago for them. I think 7th overall. But they don't have Hunter Green pitching this series. They don't have Luis Castillo pitching this series. So they don't have the top guys pitching. So there's no excuse. The Padres have Manaea, Musgrove, and Gore pitching these three games in the series before facing the Dodgers. And so this is the time. You got the Dodgers facing the Braves. You got the Giants facing the Mets. This is the time that you can make some ground maybe on this division after starting this series in 4th place tonight. Let's make some ground up. Padres won 2-1 yesterday. As I mentioned, we had episode 150 that I went live last night. Padres scored 6 runs combined in the last 3 of that 4-game series, and they scored 12 runs on Thursday. The series opener, 12 runs. They scored double the amount of runs in one game that they did in the final 3 games of the series. So just not great offensively those last 3 games of the series. That needs to improve, and you would think that the offense would improve today because they're not facing as good, pitching. And the Braves bullpen is much stronger than the Reds bullpen, obviously. Just some news and notes here real quick. Like I said, had Jim Callis on, at 3 o'clock for episode 151. Check that out. AJ Cassavell, MLB.com, came on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan today and said that Mike Clevenger actually threw 3 innings, not 2 in his rehab start, technically, because he threw 2 innings on the field in the game for Lake Elsinore on last Tuesday, I believe. And then he threw a 3rd inning in the bullpen. So that's probably a little bit better, for Padres fans, for my opinion at least. Because that means that he's at least throwing more innings and that he's at least going to throw 4 innings, it seems like, on Tuesday in El Paso. And if he's up in El Paso, that seems like they're really thinking about putting him up at the big leagues after that El Paso start, or else he'd probably be in, single A. And I was even surprised that they did that because even like with Luis Garcia, before he got activated, they were putting Luis Garcia just with Lake Elsinore. They didn't put him in El Paso. They just sent him from Lake Elsinore right to Petco Park. So it's a little surprising that they just didn't, convenience-wise, that they're sending Clevenger to El Paso. But I guess that's how they're doing it. They want him to face at least some closer to major league hitting, I guess. As for tonight, the pitching matchup, Nick Lodolo against Sean Manaea. Lodolo was the Reds' first-round pick in 2019, went 4 innings in his first start this year, 5 earned runs, 7 hits. He hit 2 batters. He walked 3, so 5 combined free passes there. This is just the first of 3 nights where the Padres should make some hay and score some runs here, hopefully score more than 2 runs like they did each of the last 3 games against Nick Lodolo and Vladimir Gutierrez. I think the final game of the series, some no-name in the second game of the series. I don't even remember his name off the top of my head. But as for Sean Manaea, first home start is tonight. 6 innings, 2 runs. His last time out in San Francisco. He walked 2 guys, 4 hits, struck out 6. This is the game, that Wednesday day game, where the Padres ended up losing 2-1. So it was like Darvish's start yesterday that he had, where he gave up 1 run, and the offense just didn't do much. With Manaea's start, the Padres offense didn't do much, and they ended up losing. Yesterday, fortunately, the bullpen really helped out after Darvish, and the Padres ended up taking that series 2-1, or taking that game 2-1, and then splitting the series 2-2. So that was the difference there between Manaea and Darvish's starts. But this is another good opportunity for Manaea to continue having a really good start to his Padres career, and I really hope he can do that. If he doesn't, it's going to be a surprise, because this Reds lineup is not particularly strong, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Quan says, what's up, Quan? He says, I agree the Padres should sweep, but then again, the Padres have a history of offensive hitting trouble against unknown pitchers for some reason, like they have no scouting, advanced scouting, I think is what he's probably saying there. Yeah. Playing down the competition is what the message Quan's saying there. He says, I'm hoping I'm wrong, though, and the Padres destroy the Reds like a tune-up to that, Dodgers series and confidence building. I agree. Dodgers, it's not going to be as easy, obviously, as the Reds. The Dodgers are not a 2-18 like the Reds are. They didn't just get swept. They were the ones that were doing the sweeping. So it's going to be tough this weekend, and you would think, you'd hope that I'm not a big believer in momentum, because it's baseball. The momentum is only going to take you as far as the next game starting pitcher that you're going up against, or the next lineup that you're going to put out there, because it is baseball. It's not like you can get hot, shooting. Like, their pitchers have different pitches, different speeds, different velocities. So it's really up to the opposing starting pitcher, in my view. I don't really buy too much in the momentum, but I agree. I get your point. The Dodgers just aren't as weak. Starting pitching, bullpen, everywhere around, lineup as well. They don't have Tommy Pham as their DH tonight like the Reds do. So, yeah, I agree that, for me at least, just get the wins here. I hope that they can sweep this series, because the Reds just suck. They just do. Talking about the bullpen so far here, let's see how the bullpen looks going into this game. Taylor Rogers finally threw yesterday. Here's my bullpen usage chart that I put out before every game, put out shortly before I came on here. Rogers, 12 pitches, Garcia 16, and then Steven Wilson only had 1 pitch coming in for Darvish yesterday in that Sunday Night Baseball 2-1 win. For Taylor Rogers, it was good to finally see him out there. He went 5 days straight, 5 straight games without seeing the mound during the game. And that's kind of weird. Like, even if he's not in a closing situation, which he wasn't really, they didn't pitch him. Usually they do pitch him if he's not in a closing situation, let's say that 3rd day without pitching in a game, because they want to get him out there. You don't want to have him come in with not a whole lot of rest, right? Or excuse me, with too much rest. But they went that long without it, and I would think that he'll pitch again today if that suits him. And I think they're really trying to load him up for this Dodgers series this weekend, so he goes all 3 games, because I'd assume that the games would be close, in some way. Luis Garcia is probably down for tonight. They're probably taking it slow with him coming off of the IL and being activated off of Lake Elsinore. But everyone else is available, even Steven Wilson, because he only threw 1 pitch last night. Pedro Avila, I think he's still with the team. That, from what I know, Chris Matt maybe he's down because they, hope that Manaea give him 6-7 innings. But everyone else, Pierce Johnson, Steven Wilson, Suarez, Lamet, Stammen even, Tim Hill for matchups, they're all going to be available tonight. So that's how the bullpen shakes up for tonight. Moving to the lineups, I'll put these lineups up here for you. Tommy Pham, like I mentioned, he is the DH for the Reds. They just suck. They suck. Kyle Farmer leading off at short, Tyler Naquin and right, Tommy Pham DHing as their third hitter, and he's hitting .038. They suck. Joey Votto batting cleanup at first base, Tyler Stevenson fifth, hitting as the catcher, Brandon Drury second base, Mike Moustakas, a little Kansas City Royals reunion, Moustakas against Hosmer, and Moustakas is hitting 129. Aristides Aquino hitting .074. Jake Fraley is in center hitting 148. Remember with Aquino when he had all that hype and he was hitting home runs like every day that one year? He definitely slid off the mat. But I want to focus, as always, on the Padres lineup. It's interesting. Usually it seems like Bob Melvin hasn't really focused too much except the shortstop position on the starting pitcher, like who's pitching. Like if it's a righty on the mound, they still had Abrams in there. They'd focus on that. But other than that, they'd had pretty much the same cast of characters in there. That's not really the case today. Today they have Voit still in there. They have Hosmer getting the day off, which isn't too surprising. But they're really focusing on this guy right here, Nick Lodolo, as the left-hander. They really want a bunch of righties in this lineup. You have Nola a righty, Manny a righty, Voit a righty, Profar a righty because he's a switch hitter, Myers a righty, Alfaro a righty, Kim a righty, Azakar I think is a righty. So they are really stacking this lineup heavily right-handed. So you might see some pinch hit opportunities, but that's what I take of this Padres lineup is it's really Bob Melvin for the first time it seems like this year is really heavily playing the opposing starting pitcher and really wanting that reverse split against, or not reverse split, the reverse batter against Lodolo, the lefty, and just stacking it with a bunch of right-handed hitters. That's what I'm seeing out of it. And then you obviously have like Hosmer and Abrams on the bench. Myers is back, obviously. That's one of my what to watch fors. He is back in the lineup after having that thumb injury. Grisham, that's also, I forgot about him. Good point, Quan. Grisham did get a day off. Good to see him as well. He was struggling like Voit to start out the season. And then Myers is back. He had some thumb swellness. It was purple at one point. But one of my what to watch for is, and we can move right into that, is with Myers back in the lineup, is he still swinging the same? Is he just fighting through it? Is he just tired of sitting on the bench? So he told Bob Melvin, hey, put me in there. We'll see what Myers does coming back. And then Jose Azakar at the plate. He's good defensively, but offense coming in was the question, and why ultimately I didn't really think he was going to make the roster. And I was surprised. I probably was leaning towards Nomar Mazara at the beginning of the year because he was a power bat, at least potentially. Azakar's hitting ninth, so it's not like they're going to expect a whole lot out of him. But with him at the plate, we'll see if he puts together some good at-bats. I think he walked yesterday, pinch hitting for Matt Beatty late in the game. So we'll see with Azakar. And then Tommy Pham hitting .038 this year. One hit so far in his first 31 plate appearances. He went hitless in his first 23 at-bats, which was the first 6 games of the season. And you wonder why the Padres didn't want to give him $7.5 million. My goodness. And then with Sean Manaea as the starting pitcher, the Reds suck, as I've said multiple times already. This feels like a bullpen getting some rest series, loading up for that Dodgers series. So can Manaea go 7 innings again? I really hope he can. And my Padre pick today, let's move on to that. One guy I think will get a hit. I picked Haas yesterday. He went 1 for 4. So I got that right. He had some good at-bats. Ended in a line drive to the shortstop, I think, to the middle of the field late in the game, put together good at-bats. Hopefully Voit was looking at that and can replicate that tonight. Just taking less violent swings. Will that happen? I doubt it, but I'm hoping that happens. Today I'm going to pick Manny. In the middle of the lineup, I think that's an obvious pick. I'm not going out on a limb, but, I'm hoping that he gets hot again against Nick Lodolo in the Reds. So I'm pretty comfortable picking Manny right against lefty. Let's finish this off before answering some questions here, if you have any, with some MLB news and notes. Seiya Suzuki, Padres are interested in him. He won NL Player of the Week. Jose Ramirez, who the Padres were also interested in, also won the other league's Player of the Week in the American League. So great week for Padres great week for Preller former interestees. The Padres were interested in them. They end up going playing Player of the Week with their other team, so that's great. Giants Mets was postponed, doubleheader on Tuesday. Let's see here. The Twins beat the Red Sox in the Patriots Day, the annual Patriots Day. Tampa Bay plays the Cubs today. Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Angels, Houston, Philly, Colorado, Baltimore, Oakland. The game I'm interested in, 3 games postponed, not just the Mets, but Arizona, Washington, and then the White Sox and Cleveland. But the game I'm interested in, Freddie Freeman going back and playing against the Atlanta Braves. It's at Dodger Stadium, so he's not going back to Atlanta, but he's going back to play his former team. Matt Olson against Freddie Freeman. See how that matchup is. Kenley Jansen making his return to Dodger Stadium in a Braves uniform. So that's something to look at as well. So give me your thoughts. Let's see if you have any questions. Those were some MLB news and notes. Just a quick pregame show because I did just go live with Jim Callis and have an episode. So I want to give you guys some time to watch or listen to that if you did not have the chance. Again, episode 151 presented by Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. They're available at Petco Park tonight if anyone's heading down to the stadium, or this weekend against the Dodgers, the whole season. I cannot wait to get back to San Diego to have me some Gaglione Bros. That's going to be amazing. Let's see here. Greg says, I don't understand this. If Voit is struggling, shouldn't he bat before Manny so he will see better pitches? That's what other teams do, I guess, but they don't view Voit. They view Voit more as a power threat and not as a 2-hitter, right? They're not going to hit him second. They're going to put Cronenworth there, or someone better suited for that spot. I think that's what they're going to do. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. They view him as a power hitter, so they're not going to put him hitting second or hit him lead off in front of Manny because Manny's hitting second tonight. They're not going to do that. So maybe with Cronenworth, if he was struggling, I could see that, or with Nola, or with Grisham. But no, I don't get it with Voit. He's just a power threat. They want him behind Manny, so when Manny gets on, you can maybe drive him in somehow. Wolfpack 1977 says Kim a home run today. One of you guys, I think, predicted, what was it, a Profar home run? Someone I think predicted that in the chat one of the other days. I think Saturday when he hit that home run. So good for you on that. But again, the lineup, Nola, Machado, Cronenworth, Voit cleaning up, Profar, Myers back in there, Alfaro catching, Manaea, Kim in for Abrams at short, Azekar in center for Grisham getting the day off. That'll do it for the pregame show, a little short pregame show. Again, I just went on with Jim Callis live, episode 151 of the podcast and YouTube show. I hope you will go watch or listen to that. If you want your pregame fix as well, to recap, give my thoughts on that Brave series, that pregame, or that 2-game win series that split for the Braves, go ahead and watch or listen to episode 150. That'll do it for the pregame show. Ben Fadden signing off. Enjoy the game. Stay tuned for my post-game reaction. That'll go up on the social media channels at Talking